All right, welcome back to the episode of Beer, Bacon, and Bros. Tonight we got a three-man cast. We got Adam, we got Chris, and we got Keith. We are hopping into our first 10 picks of this year's 2023 NFL Draft predictions. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us. Really growing the channel on our push for 300. If you're already a subscriber, as always, thank you for what you do for us. Make sure you hit the like button because it makes our videos more popular. And as always, hit us in the comments. You know we'll get back with you. So we're just going to jump right into it. First pick, Carolina Panthers. You're a big Panthers fan. We've been giving you shit for weeks about them going up and drafting Anthony Richardson.
Because that's what they're going to do.
They're
not
going to take Anthony Richardson. We came together to put this draft together, and I think decisively we've all come up with Bryce Young, which I think has been your favorite of the quarterback.
That's been who I feel they should go after. I think he's proven himself to be a solid quarterback. You know, given the fact that he is on the shorter stature.
Yeah.
I mean, he is 5'10", so I mean he's definitely under that 6-foot body frame that you typically want to see out of a quarterback. But I mean, I think he's got the arm strength, he's got the arm talent. You know,
super smart.
So yeah, I mean, he's great. He's great behind the line. You know, he can definitely.
I think he's the best game manager of the QBs out there.
I agree, and you pair him up with Frank Reich, who has been a quarterback guru, so to say. You know, you pair him up with an offensive-minded, quarterback-minded coach. I think it's a pairing that's going to work out very well for him in the long run.
Yeah.
I know personally I had C.J. Stroud going one to the Panthers. I don't think you could go wrong with either one of them here.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I think C.J. Stroud maybe a little more athletic, maybe a little bit better arm talent as far as like arm strength, let me put it that way. But I think as far as an overall QB, I do believe Bryce Young is just a little bit better. So if they go one of those two outs as the first pick, I don't think you can go wrong.
Well, what makes me think it's going to be Bryce Young is Bryce Young's turned down or has halted his player meetings with teams at this point. So typically when they do that, they have an idea of where they're going. And I really don't. I mean, if he doesn't go one, he's going to go two.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's honestly going to be Bryce Young then C.J. Stroud, or C.J. Stroud then Bryce Young. I personally think it's going to be Bryce Young first, just because I think he's got the bigger name and the bigger game coming up behind him as far as like you're saying game management and just having the better QB talent.
In my opinion, he feels like the safest pick.
Right.
Like I think when you look at the four quarterbacks that everybody's talking about, he feels like the safest pick to me, and so.
Yeah.
You don't move up to one not to take a quarterback, so it's going to be one of them. But I'm with
especially
you.
what they gave up to get there. I agree.
Yeah. Well, so on the flip side of that, we've already said it. Kind of C.J. Stroud going two if it's not going to be Bryce Young, so that's where we think he's going to go. Houston seems to have really kind of fallen in love with the 6'3" sophomore out of Ohio State. So.
Well, yeah, and there's really nothing wrong with him. I just don't personally trust Ohio State quarterbacks.
Absolutely, you should.
So, but he does have a big arm, so he can definitely get it down there. My only concern with that is with them losing Brandon Cooks, they don't really have much to actually get to. Yeah, but we can talk about that later in this draft. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going to Houston would definitely be a good play for Houston because they'd have a bigger body quarterback who they can probably bulk up and put maybe another 5 to 10 pounds on him in muscle weight, just to kind of bulk him up a little bit more.
Yeah. And
he would be a solid starter for years to come.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, personally, I had him going first. Bryce Young going to the Texans, being the safest pick here of all the QBs.
Yeah.
That's where I had him going.
What made you feel like C.J. Stroud should go one?
Personally, I thought he had. I mean, I think the arm talent is very similar. Maybe a little bit bigger body somewhere that you are looking Cam Newton-esque at Carolina. A little bit shorter, but still that bigger quarterback that they had really good success with in the Cam Newton. And I think he fits that kind of mobile, has a big arm, bigger body, can move outside the pocket. So, if you're going with older trends of what they've done before and had success with, that's what I had.
The other thing that I do like about Young going first is what the Panthers brought in the offseason, bringing in a big possession receivers in DJ Chark and Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they've got a good core, and they have dude from LSU a couple years ago, Terrence Marshall.
Yeah, we'll see how he turns out.
Yeah, so I mean, I just think it's going to be a better fit for him to have those bigger guys. So
yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, we're going to 3, and this is actually where we have our first trade, and it's so funny because without even talking, Adam and I actually completely agreed on this happening. So I felt like this definitely had to be put in here. So at 3, we have the Raiders trading up with the Cardinals. I had them swapping picks in the first round.
Yep.
Okay. So moving into 3, the Raiders actually moving up to get Anthony Richardson. Obviously, Derek Carr ready to leave.
He's already
and gone. From to New Orleans. So this is their moment to take a quarterback, somebody they believe in. And there's been a little bit of swirlings around this. Now, for me personally, this just reminds me so much of Jamarcus Russell.
Yes, absolutely. Which is why I did not want him to go number 1 in the Panthers. I didn't want him that similar play style. Has all the talent in the world, but can you put it on the field?
I think he can. I think this is a good fit for Anthony Richardson. I think as long as he studies film and shows that he like you said, knows.
Don't pull Kyler Murray.
Yeah. As long as he studies and shows that he can be
the guy.
Be the quarterback that we've seen in college in the NFL, then I think the Raiders are going to be very happy trading up to get him here.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end of Adam. I see the typical thing that people pull when the NFL draft comes around: 6'4", 245-pound, huge arm quarterback, and everybody's like, the prototypical. This is the guy. We can make him into what we want. So
this reminds me.
I don't believe in Anthony Richardson, and I'll bite the bullet if I'm wrong.
This reminds me a lot of Al Davis, because Al Davis would go out and get the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, whatever was there.
Yeah.
He didn't care what they played. He went out and got whatever the biggest, fastest, strongest athlete was at that point in time. He didn't care what it was.
Yeah.
I still had Anthony Richardson going 3rd, but I had Tennessee trading up to get him.
Okay. We'll see. Tennessee. I mean, I'm not sure, in my opinion, that Tennessee's ready to move on from Malik Willis. I think they're frustrated with him, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're moving on.
Completely done with him, yeah.
Yeah. 4, we're going to go 4 quarterbacks in a row.
I think it's unanimous here.
And I think we're all unanimous on Will Levis going to the Colts. This seems like the Colts have been on this guy specifically for a while. And so
it fits the style they want. He's a big arm guy, kind of a game manager.
Big body, too.
Yeah, big body. Can move if he needs to.
Yeah.
But they don't call on him to do it very often.
Yeah.
But, he's going to stand in the pocket. He can take a hit. You give him you pair him up with a good run game in Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And then you got to worry. Well, now you got to worry about getting a receiver. But outside of that,
you're telling me Michael Pittman Jr. can't get it done for him?
No, I don't think he's a number 1, but I'm not going to discredit him.
He's their number
1 as a decent. Yeah, well, I know that, but I'm not going to discredit him as a decent receiver. I'm interested in this. I'm not in on Will Levis, and I'm not out on Will Levis. I'm just not.
I'm not sold on him to be
what
I thought was going to be like
a top 4 pick.
I thought everybody, coming into the season, he was the quarterback.
He reminds me a lot of Mitch Trubisky a couple years ago coming out.
Me too.
Mitch Trubisky had this same stat line.
Me too.
6'3", 6'4", 230, 240 guy. Big arm, but can he perform on the field?
Yeah.
Will Levis, he kind of struggled this past year. Last year he was okay.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really proven to be the guy.
Yeah.
On a big stage, especially playing for the SEC where you're on TV every week.
Yep.
He hasn't really proven to be the guy,
Yep.
like a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud, and proved to be that guy.
I just think that Will wasn't asked a whole lot of him in college at Kentucky. I just don't feel like they
They
made
really
the
need
offense
to.
around the quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
it was
So-
more geared to the running game.
So what we've seen is in gym shorts and a t-shirt, he looks really good throwing the ball around,
Yeah.
right? And so
Anybody does.
This is why I'm not in and not out on him. We're just gonna see what happens, in my opinion. So 5, we all unanimously agreed on this as well.
Yep.
Outside
Will Anderson.
linebacker Will Anderson, he's an outside linebacker DN, junior, 6'3.5", 253. I think he's probably the most elite pass rusher in the entire draft.
Outside the guy from Texas Tech, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's above the Tech guy.
Yeah.
Tyree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tyree Wilson.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, he's your best pass rusher. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm interested because at Seattle they're running that 4-3 still under Pete Carroll. So having Will Anderson have to step into a 4-3 and kind of be a hand in the ground
Kind
defensive
of hybrid
end.
type of guy. Yeah.
He's not going to get to play that rush outside linebacker anymore. So the fit necessarily doesn't make sense, but you got to take the value there and figure out what to do with it.
Well, I'm sure also if they decide to if they take him this position, I feel like Pete Carroll could kind of scheme some things around to get him up
Yeah.
Where he doesn't have to have his hand on the ground the whole time.
I
But-
think the same. Excuse me. The same thing like Dallas did with Michael Parsons.
Yeah,
He's a rush outside line where they kind of whether
you line him
needed-
up on the line on certain plays, but
Yeah.
then let him stand up and do what he does best.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the difference for me between Michael Parsons and Will Anderson, and we'll move on to number 6 after this, is that Will is really kind of a pass rusher.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have the skill set to play middle linebacker like Michael Parsons did in college and now
And can
has
and
done
does now.
with Dallas. I mean, Micah, the uniqueness of Micah is he can fit anywhere in that front seven.
Yeah,
He makes it work.
he's very versatile.
He's like a Kuechly back in the you had the mindset to play any position, like you said, in that front seven and do what you need to do.
Yeah. At 6, we have Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle from Georgia, obviously in a little bit of
Little bit of
hot
trouble
water.
right now.
So,
But definitely
It's going to be very
best-
interesting to see what he does, especially with him being in that hot water. I mean, this would be a great pick for Detroit, especially getting Hutchinson last year.
Yep.
I mean, this would be a great pick for them.
I was gonna say this would solidify, I think, their line
Absolutely.
because they have opposite of Hutchinson on the other end. They have I think it's also a halfway decent another edge
defensive
rusher.
end.
Yeah, but then you add him to the middle, then it's
Yeah,
is that a trifecta across the line kind of?
It's just
Yeah.
really going to be interesting to see how far he does fall with the hot water that he's in right now with everything that happened.
I mean, this is a guy that we're talking about going first overall.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
To
So-
fall to 6, I mean, I'm with you. I think if you're Detroit, this is a great pick for
What's
you.
a solid pick?
Yeah, as a team that's kind of in that midway point still. Are
Absolutely.
they getting better enough to be contenders? Are they, should they start to rebuild again
Right.
with pieces? So, but I mean, the guy without a doubt, 6'3", 315, just a powerful rusher on the inside, but also
Right.
really great in the run game. So. This is where we had the flip. So the Cardinals moving back to 7 for the Raiders to move up to 3. And we have Tyree Wilson, again, defensive end, outside linebacker. This guy, for me, I think when he goes to the NFL, is going to have to play defensive end or defensive tackle even if they wanted to boost him up. He's already 6'6", 271, so that makes a really great rush defensive end.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the size that you want for that DM position. You
Yeah.
want to be that 6'6", 270, 275 guy.
Or a solid guy on a 3-4 defense, being able to hold his own in the defensive end position. But I also think that he's versatile enough, could move inside a defensive tackle and really give you a great inside rusher.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I agree with that here. I mean, it's definitely a position that Arizona needs, especially losing J.J. Watt.
Yep.
So I mean, it's definitely a position they definitely need going into the season.
Yeah, personally here I had Christian Gonzalez going here at DB for him. They need help out there.
They need a lot of help.
Well,
on
yeah,
the
because
defensive
Peterson
end.
left too. So
Yeah.
So I mean, I think they
Peterson's
need a lot of
also
help
special.
out there on the
well,
in the
they
secondary.
still need the help.
Yeah, I think they need a lot of help on all defensive places. But I think this is for Arizona. They clearly want to move out of 3. This is a good spot to fall back and kind of get whoever you want. So, Atlanta Falcons, God, if they don't need everything, but
Defense, offense,
running back, wide
Special
receiver,
teams.
quarterback. So, we got him taking Paris Johnson Jr. This is actually something that Alex and I both agreed on. I think Paris is a very versatile tackle, can play both right and left tackle. He's better at right tackle without a doubt. And also a little bit better in the run blocking game than he is in the pass blocking game. But if you're Atlanta, you've already got yourself a young quarterback, and you feel good about Desmond Ridder. You got to go get somebody to protect him, and this seems to be a guy that gives you versatility for both tackles. Not necessarily, in my opinion, the best offensive tackle, but this seems to be
really good footwork for
such a large man at 6'3",
Yes.
315. Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally here, this is where I had Tyree going.
Tyree
Tyree
Wilson.
Yeah.
I totally could make sense. I mean, Atlanta can go anywhere with
So
this.
this is where I had
absolutely.
Tyree Wilson going on the edge there. Like you said, it doesn't matter what they take, they need help.
Yeah.
They need help with everything.
So
Absolutely.
whatever position they want to fill, they're gonna have their pick of either the first or the top 2 guys in that
Yeah.
outside quarterback.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, which I don't think they'll go quarterback. I think
No,
they're
they
pretty
wouldn't
happy
need
with
to.
Ridder. But so for me, this is actually at 9 with Chicago. This is the guy that I think makes the most sense for them and is the best offensive lineman in this class for me. And Peter, I have no idea how to say his name.
Skoronski.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all got it. So, but it is odd, right? Northwestern being in Chicago. But I think this guy is so versatile at both tackle and guard. He's played everything basically for Northwestern in his 3 years there. So 6'4", 315. A lot of people feel like he needs to move inside, just doesn't do a good enough job in space to be efficient in the NFL. But
not quite quick enough on the feet there on the edge
to be able to handle those elite rushers. Yeah, so if he moves inside the guard, I still think no matter where they put him, he's a starter day one for Chicago.
So do you think, with them obviously bolstering the offensive line, they definitely are trying to maintain Justin Fields as their quarterback.
Yeah.
But how long do you think they're going to maintain keeping that Justin Fields experiment?
I still think
because
they definitely the whole year this year
because they don't have a threat for him on the outside. They don't really have a running back for him.
Come on, man, Chase Claypool's awesome.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, Khalil Herbert seems to be their guy at running back. They've let Dave Montgomery go. He's in Detroit now, I think. And so for them, I mean, you can't. I mean, you can't blame a quarterback without making a bad
No. I mean, this is definitely a good, solid pick for Chicago because their offensive line last year was atrocious.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely a great pick for them. But I just feel like there are some experts saying that Chicago could potentially trade up too and get a quarterback.
Yeah.
So I mean, but this makes this, especially if they're going to give Fields another chance. This makes the most sense. It's a great play for them.
Yeah.
Especially since he can play on the outside if needed, but he's probably going to, like you said, be on the inside, either the left or the right side of the guard, on the guard position. So
yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I had Paris Johnson going here. I think
so just another
offensive lineman for sure.
Yeah. I mean that feels like it's got to be the pick for them to be able to efficiently help Justin Fields. At 10, last pick of this video for us in the first top 10 picks, Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of people have the Eagles actually trading out of this pick.
I can see that,
and I can see that. I feel like if you're Philadelphia, you were already in the Super Bowl. This is a chance to get yourself an elite player somewhere else. They have not been able to stay healthy at cornerback. A lot of people like Devin Witherspoon as the number one corner this year.
Cam Smith, baby.
Listen, I'm not that big a homer, but and I don't know that I agree that Devin Witherspoon is the best corner in my opinion, but I do see him as somebody that can play both sides of the field, cornerback, can play in the slot, is going to help you in the run game.
Hands-on kind of guy.
Very hands-on, both balanced in zone and man coverage, and also can help you in the run game. He's not a liability out there trying to tackle running back, so. I mean, I understand where people feel like Devin Witherspoon is the best corner and why they feel he's the best corner. I think he's probably the best overall corner of doing all the things that a cornerback should have to do.
Right. What you need, what you're going to ask for them to do.
So I had Jahmyr Gibbs going here to match up with Miles Sanders in the backfield.
It'd be a solid play for them.
Alabama has had a run of good running backs. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I don't think
that's not Trent Richardson.
I'll give you $50 a running back doesn't go in the top 10.
It would if one goes. This is where it would go. Okay. If one goes,
you'll be surprised in a later video of what I put down.
So this is where I had him going. I thought with Bradbury and Darius Slay, I didn't think they would go corner.
Yeah.
But
well, it makes sense if they, especially if he can play the slot, to have another big time slot receiver that you have under control for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, it definitely would help them out a lot because I don't know how I know they just re-signed Bradbury. But what's their?
They gave Slay the big money, and Slay's definitely their number one. But again, we talk about both of those guys missed a combined 11 games this past year.
Well, and they got burned in a lot of plays too, especially in the Super Bowl. They got burned.
Yeah, so they have to be able to kind of help
guys,
and help themselves in that position.
Right.
So. All right, well, hit us in the comments. Let us know what you think about our picks, and if there's one that you think something different's going to happen. As always, we appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe.